fresh fundraising ideas to support youth nonprofits. We're so glad that you're with us today. A little housekeeping. So we are recording this webinar and you're going to receive an email with a link to the recording and along with a lot of other great resources today. Also, feel free to ask us questions, use the chat box, and we'll have a Q&A session at the very end. We'll also be live tweeting today, so share your highlights and takeaways with the hashtag Qgiv webinar and be sure to follow us on Twitter. For those of you on the call not familiar with Qgiv, we provide fundraising software for over 6,000 nonprofit clients. Our solutions include online donation and event registration forms, a peer-to-peer platform, auction platform, and text fundraising. And welcome back to all of our clients that are on the call with us today. But let's meet who's going to be talking, which is me, and my colleague, but I'll introduce myself first. So my name is Caitlin Lipham, and I am the Customer Marketing Manager here at Qgiv. I've been on the team for a little less than a year, and it's been an amazing journey so far. But before joining the team, I actually spent 7 years in the nonprofit industry as a field level fundraiser that was responsible for several peer-to-peer events, auctions, galas, golf events, you name it, throughout the Central Florida area. And after working directly with events and volunteers for several years, I then transitioned into the role of a senior development manager. And I was able to lead and coach a team of fundraisers and also work very closely with volunteers. And one of the reasons why I love being at Qgiv is that I get to help create resources for fellow fundraisers. So it's been an honor to be a small part of so many amazing missions. Now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Brittany, to introduce herself.
Thank you, Caitlin. Hi, everybody. My name is Brittany, and I am a customer success manager on the customer experience team. I've been with Qgiv for right about 6.5 years, and I have been passionate about the nonprofit industry my entire life. So the stars really aligned whenever I found Qgiv in late 2015, and I'm pretty pumped to co-host this webinar today. So glad you're all here.
Awesome. Thanks, Brittany. And we are definitely glad that you're here today. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we're going to cover. So we're going to go over the importance of a diversified fundraising approach. We're going to cover some campaign ideas that revolve around donation forms, events, peer-to-peer, text fundraising, and auctions, in addition to a few other nuggets about how to leverage social media, how to tell your story, and more. And then we're going to talk about how Qgiv can help not only with our fundraising platform, but with free resources that are available to everyone, regardless if you're a client or not. So before we dive into those amazing campaign examples, I wanted to share a quick note about why it's so important to diversify your fundraising strategies and events. Not all events are going to appeal to everyone in your community. Not everyone wants to wake up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday to attend a 5K, and may prefer a gala and silent auction, or vice versa. So think about the demographics in your community and don't be afraid to try something new and make sure that you have several events going on that are going to appeal to everyone. And why? It's because we don't want to put all of our fundraising eggs in one basket. So for example, if you are really focused on hosting one big in-person event for the year, what would happen if you had to cancel it due to weather or for some unforeseen reason? I know we all learned a lot during the pandemic. I was fundraising through that, and you can see where I'm going. So that's why it's so important to make sure that you're diversifying where you're getting your income from. And that's why pairing your events with a solid year-round giving plan to help is always the way to go. So let's kick things off by discussing some online donation forms. So it is very important that donors can give online these days. We saw this before the pandemic, and it remains constant. So just to give you an idea about why this is so important is because online giving is growing steadily. It's predicted that 3/4 of internet users will be solely using their smartphones and tablets by 2025. So when you're thinking about those online donation forms, that's why it's really important to make sure that they are mobile optimized to help make sure that you're meeting your donors where they are. And also, I personally love the convenience of online donation forms for staff and volunteers. So make sure that you're asking your donors to give online as a preferred donation method. And it's going to save you a lot of time. And this is also a great way to really host those year-round giving campaigns like we discussed earlier. but I know that Brittany is really excited to share a real world example from one of our clients, Venture Lab. So Brittany, if you want to show us that form.
Absolutely. Let me share my screen. Everybody can see it okay?
Yep, I can see it.
Awesome. All right. So, yeah, the first idea that I wanted to share is a campaign that our client Venture Lab hosts throughout the year. So, Venture Lab is a nonprofit with a mission to create the next generation of innovators and game changers through entrepreneurial style learning. And they actually work with students and teachers to develop and support strong mindsets. They offer various programs and curriculums to support the idea that everyone has the ability to be an entrepreneur, no matter their age. And I wanted to highlight one of their many programs that they have, their Spark Startup. And mentorship program, and how they're using Qgiv forms to help their students raise funds for their startup. So this is a 4-month mentorship program for kids 8 to 18, and it's designed to coach them and help them develop certain skill sets that support their dream of changing the world with their product or business idea. And part of this program is hosting virtual pitch nights. So it allows the students to kind of show off what they learned and showcase their public speaking skills by confidently pitching to local businesses in the community. So after their pitch is where QGive comes in. Their team uses our donation forms to help their ventures, creating a form for each student to raise funds and track their progress. So if we look on this page, you'll see that all of their students are highlighted here, and underneath each student is their own support button. And if we click it, it's going to open their designed donation page. So here we have Sage. He's so cute. He has created his affordable clothing line, Royal Refuge, as a haven for the youth in his community who have just been dealing with the pandemic and social issues the last few years. So the first thing you're going to see is our video widget, which is each student's pitch video that they actually did virtually. And it's the first thing you see on their form right above this custom content block that includes the details of their project. Each form also includes a thermometer widget. So that is an easy way that not only the kids, but their supporters can track that progress. They can see where they're at in their fundraising efforts and how far along they are in their goal, which is such a great way to encourage support. The use of our video widget and thermometer give their supporters a very clear idea of what they're supporting, who they're supporting, and just like where they are in that goal. So all without actually having to leave the donation page where they're actually going to make a donation to support them. Caitlin, I will go ahead and turn it back to you to chat through some of their marketing ideas before I show off the next example.
Awesome. Thank you, Brittany. Yes, I love this campaign. I think it's just so creative and so cute how they're highlighting the different pictures. But like Brittany said, I wanted to share a few top tips and also speak to social media a little bit. So as you can see on the screen here, these are actually pulled from Venture Lab's Facebook. So they've got, some ideas around how to generate some excitement for this. So they've got an image here. They show the kids. They have a link for a call to action to go and learn more. They're sharing when the event is, and I love that they're promoting that it is virtual. So I love that they put all of that right out there on social media because it's going to help you reach more people. Another thing that they did on their page is that they educated donors about how they help youth, what the pitchers stand to gain by competing when it comes to public speaking and different skills. So it's so important to educate your donors where their dollars are going and who they're going to help so you can raise more for your mission and donors can feel good about why they're donating, right? So now when it comes to some more best practices that you could take back to your mission, I wanted to touch on the video creation piece that Brittany showed us. So you may not have an in-house graphic design team that you can turn to create those videos, and that's okay. So just know that a smartphone and a steady hand can go a long way. However, when you do need to get a more polished video, don't be afraid to get creative. So offer in-kind sponsorship perks if you have an event tied around your campaign. Work with local companies that you might be able to partner with to help you produce the video even for free or for that really highly discounted rate, which I know we prefer free, but still sometimes discounted is good. Or you could even try something that I did when I was in fundraising, which was that I actually partnered with a local high school's media class for that more polished, professional looking video. And let me tell you, they did an excellent job. And they also made that video their class project for the quarter. So you would not be able to tell that a group of high school kids made this video. But, so think through different things in your community of where you can get creative when you have those needs. Another big takeaway from this campaign for me is definitely the power of storytelling. So think through how you can coach your fundraisers to tell not only the story of your mission, but their own story, right? So why do they want others to help join them? What are they fundraising for? So that's super powerful to make sure you're weaving that in. And then I have a couple of general donation form best practices up on the screen here that Brittany's going to dive into. So Brittany, I know you said you had one more example to share with us today to dive into that.
Yes. All right. Let me get that up there for you all to see. So I want to just show very quickly Big Brothers Big Sisters of Southeastern New Mexico. Their team has done a great job with this form. It's embedded on their website, which we do always recommend. And it's not really campaign specific, but more that year-round giving. So I love that not only did they add donation images, which is a feature on our donation form, but they included those short and sweet impact statements, as well as named their different donation amounts. And I just think that can really connect with your donors, because how fun is it to know that with my donation, I am a dedicated defender or a protector of potential. Like, I absolutely love that. So regardless of what giving platform you're using, if you can add something specific to your donation buttons, like the images or impact statements that show the difference, I really recommend doing that, because it really brings your form to life versus a plain radio button that just kind of shows an amount. And then I just had to quickly show that they are using our Gift Assist feature, which allows your donors to offset those processing costs. And it's a great way for your donors to opt into if they feel called or compelled to have their donation go that much further, because they are helping with fees. I saw that was on your slide, Caitlin, so I will give that back to you in case you want to go into that a little bit more.
Awesome. Thanks, Brittany. So love those impact images, those impact statements. And I think you just about covered it, especially with Gift Assist, but there was one more stat I wanted to share around this. So our team actually tracks that feature, Gift Assist, which again is the ability to give donors to cover costs for their donation. And about 50% of donors elect to cover those costs. So you're in fundraising, you know that if you don't ask, the answer is always no. But I want to shift gears and talk about peer-to-peer fundraising. So before I turn it back to Brittany to discuss our next campaign example from Boys and Girls Club of San Marcos, I wanted to give a bit of background for anyone on the call that may not be familiar with peer-to-peer events, or maybe you're just new to fundraising. So peer-to-peer fundraising is when individuals organize personal campaigns to collect donations from their peers. So pretty simple. These fundraisers can include asking for donations for a variety of events. So from bowl-a-thons to those 5Ks. These are in general more of your grassroots styled fundraisers, and usually are family friendly. But again, sky's the limit when it comes to what kind of event you want to do around your peer-to-peer campaign. And if you're not using peer-to-peer, here are a couple of reasons why you definitely want to add this to your plans to help further diversify your fundraising. I'm not going to read all of the stats on this slide, but my favorite is that 39% of Americans say they've donated to a charity based on the request of a friend. So think about that. We trust recommendations from friends and family members a lot. I know that I do. So if I saw that somebody was trying to raise money for a cause they believe in, I'm going to pay more attention to that. So think about the power of that. You're able to reach individuals through peer-to-peer fundraising that may not have otherwise known about your mission. So pretty cool. And Brittany, I know you were really excited to show us this next example.
Yes, I am. Okay, so Boys and Girls Club of San Marcos. They actually use peer-to-peer for their Giving Tuesday campaigns the last few years, and they do such a great job. So Giving Tuesday is a national campaign that takes place the first Tuesday following Black Friday, if you're not familiar. And a lot of organizations actually start that campaign about a month before Giving Tuesday. It just really amps up their fundraising efforts, and that is exactly what their club did. You can see that they created a couple of save the date graphics. Here's an example of one. And they very clearly told their donor or their supporters what to do and how they can join in, whether it's creating a fundraising page or getting with their friends and family and creating a fundraising team, or just simply making a donation. And last year, they had a very generous matching opportunity with a local attorney who's like super involved in their community, and they gave it a fun spin by announcing their match in a video, which, like Caitlin mentioned, this is literally on an iPhone. It's less than 40 seconds, and they uploaded it using Vimeo, which is super friendly, and it's a free platform for the most part. And they gave it a fun spin by announcing that match in a video and calling it Make Ken Pay. So he talked about the organization, why he supports them, and then challenged their donors to give donations and make him pay up. And it's a custom page on the peer-to-peer platform, so it's very easy to add custom content to. So as the campaign was going, they would actually film little updates, again, cell phone, less than 40 seconds. And this one's super cute because it's when Ken found out how much they actually had so far before the campaign was over. So such a fun way to like really engage with the community and a local celebrity even. Another thing that I want to talk about with their Giving Tuesday initiatives that they do really good is after the fundraising is over. So it is so important to share your results with your supporters. Trust me, they are invested. They want to know how you're doing. They have taken time out to support you and fundraise alongside of you. And they did an amazing job with this graphic because it breaks it down exactly into what they raised, how many gifts, the match that they were able to receive, just like so, such a very fun way to kind of update everybody. And they took it a step further and actually updated their peer-to-peer page after the fact. So they went back to the home page, they took off all of their different buttons and just kind of updated what they did, how they did. I love that they transitioned the leaderboard from their fundraisers to their donors to really kind of show off those messages and those donations. And then they used our image gallery widget to upload pictures of the kids thanking the donors, which I just think is so amazing. They talk about like what they got to do with the donations. So it's just those small things that you're doing that doesn't take up a lot of time that give your donors really big feelings. Doesn't have to be anything crazy or super polished like Caitlin mentioned. So just couple of things to consider. And whatever you're doing for Giving Tuesday this year, make sure you incorporate some of these ideas to drive engagement, but make sure you are starting early, like in a couple of months, getting your campaign ready. And I know Caitlin shares that sentiment about starting early. So back to you, Caitlin.
Yes, I definitely do share that same sentiment about starting early. Time is always of the essence. And I think Kim said it best earlier with the state trivia, which is the early bird gets the worm. So a little bit more about Giving Tuesday. So again, like this is a great way to create that buzz around this time of year when people are already thinking about being philanthropic. And again, like this is true for other awareness months. So let's say like there's a day or a month in your community where it's focused on youth development or education or different things of that nature where people are already thinking about your mission. So you can tag on to that momentum that's already going. And another thing that Brittany said that I think is worth repeating is don't forget to say thank you to donors. I heard a statistic one time when I was in fundraising, which is that people don't hear you say thank you until you've said it about 7 times, which is crazy, but it's true. So make sure you're thanking them at every opportunity and that you are being specific with telling them what their dollars did. And those pictures that Brittany showed us, love that with the kids. You're putting a face to your mission. You're showing people who they helped And again, make sure that your online presence is up to date. So those links will outlive your campaign. Whatever is on the internet is there pretty much forever. So make sure you're going back and you're updating, like what Brittany talked to us about. As far as other things that you could take back to your community, again, we see more of that storytelling component here. Don't be afraid to engage local celebrities or people that are really well known in the community, especially when it comes to that community style match. So make Ken pay. I love that campaign. It's a great catchphrase. So get creative with what you could use here. And, when it comes to figuring out who that person could be, just think through your own network. If you have volunteers or your board, work through them to see who they might recommend and see if you can get someone help you to make that ask when it comes to considering someone to partner with you for that kind of match. And another thing that I used to do was even build this into a sponsorship packet. So businesses love that idea of matching donor dollars. And this would give them added benefits for exposure. So think about like all of the emails that you would send out that would have their logo and show that they're partnering with you, all of that social media exposure. And another added benefit with this kind of community match style campaign is that donors, in my experience, they loved it when they were able to double their impact. So their dollar is just going to go that much farther. And if you have fundraising incentives and swag involved, you better believe me that your donors are going to want to make those donations and stretch those dollars. Another thing that I wanted to talk about here is more of the traditional corporate employer-employee matching gift awards. So again, this is going to be different from a local double your donation match that's open to everyone in the community, like the Make Ken Pay campaign. For those of you unfamiliar with employer-based matching gifts, basically this is when an employer matches an employee's donation one-to-one. So let's say I gave $100 towards the Make Ken Pay campaign, and then my employer matched that donation. So they're going to match it one-to-one, give an additional $100 to that same campaign. If you want to learn more about matching gifts, we've got tons of information and free resources on our blog that we'll review at the end, because $4 to $7 billion in matching gifts funds goes unclaimed per year. So definitely make sure you're reading up on those resources. Don't be afraid to integrate this into your campaign. And I love that, you can even do this with a peer-to-peer campaign, your online donation forms. So lots of opportunity here. And for any Qgiv clients that are on the call, here's a reminder that we have a matching gift integration with Cyber Grants, which is completely free. Now, I have a few more top tips I wanted to share when it comes to peer-to-peer best practices and just things in general you can take back to most campaigns. So again, make sure you have an aesthetically pleasing peer-to-peer page. I know the 90s are making a comeback in a big way when it comes to fashion and a lot of things I've been seeing lately, but please don't let the 90s invade your website. You don't want people to think that it's suddenly 1991 when they get to your peer-to-peer page, right? And why is this important? Not only am I a sucker for good design, but most importantly, it's going to help build trust with your donors. They're going to view you as credible the better looking your page looks. Another top thing to think about when it comes to peer-to-peer campaigns, because again, you're coaching others to fundraise on your behalf, is make sure that they're leveraging Facebook fundraising techniques. So not everybody's on Facebook, but for the ones that are, make sure that you are coaching them to do this. And aside from Facebook, make sure that you are giving them tools to help them craft their own story. So going back to that storytelling component, right? So make sure they understand your mission, make sure that they know how they're going to reach others in their network, and make sure that they customize their personal fundraising page to share their why. So that'll be really impactful when others click on the link and they see a little bit about why they want to donate. Also, make sure that you are, if you have a peer-to-peer event, and let's say it's something you do annually, so whether it's around Giving Tuesday or just an in general peer-to-peer campaign, make sure that you are inviting your past participants. And this is super important because past participants actually raise 3.5 times more than new teams. I know we're always talking about, growing our campaigns and recruit, but don't forget about retention. And that's just simply because they have more experience fundraising. They've done it before and they have some ideas about how they want to improve. And again, providing those turnkey resources for those fundraisers, it's going to be super helpful for them. Now, I hope that you enjoyed learning about peer-to-peer and Boys and Girls Club of San Marcos's campaign and how they made Pay. But let's shift gears and talk about auctions, which is another component to help you diversify your fundraising. If you've never hosted an auction, you definitely want to consider it, or maybe it's been a few years, but it's time to just be thinking about that again. So not everyone wants to go to a more casual, family-friendly peer-to-peer event. And I talked about that a little bit in the beginning of the presentation when it comes to diversifying your strategies. Not everyone is going to give just for the sake of giving on an online donation form. So sometimes you need a different kind of event that's going to engage and excite people in your community. And so think about that when it comes to a ticketed event, such as a gala or a golf. And this is where auctions come in. So this is a great thing that you can tie in. What I love about auctions is that you're getting those free donated items. It's not going to impact your bottom line. And then another bonus is that the process of reaching out for auction items is actually going to increase your organization's visibility in your community. So I love that. But without further delay, Brittany, I think you had a great auction example that you wanted to share with us.
I do. Okay, so I wanted to highlight Junior Achievement of Southern Colorado's auction that's taking place next month. For anybody who's not familiar with Junior Achievement, it's all about preparing young people for work readiness with a focus in financial literacy, and they provide students with education courses that support that throughout the year. And so they did a fun spin here on Are You Smarter Than a JA fifth grader? So they have local executives come in and face off with the fifth grade students using questions from the JA curriculum, which I think is just such a fun way to show off what you're actually doing throughout the year for your students and kind of invite your community to be a part of that. So this year, they actually added a auction component, and it is the first thing that they made sure people see when they shared on Facebook, because this year they're calling it "It's Back with a New Twist." Like Caitlin mentioned, very clean graphic goes along with the theme of "Are you smarter than a JA fifth grader?" They've got their sponsor presenter on there. I can see exactly when and where the event is. And in the text, I can actually read through for more details, or I can go straight away and purchase those tickets. What I like most about this post too is it's pinned to their Facebook. So it's the most important thing that's happening right now. It's their main focus. So right now, anybody that lands on their Facebook page, it's going to be the first thing that you see, regardless if you're on a desktop or a mobile device. Which I just thought was really cool. Another thing that I love that they're doing is weekly thank yous to their sponsors, which your sponsors are loving, I'm sure. Again, clean graphic goes along with the theme. I still know exactly what I'm looking at. It says the event, the name, like when it's at, where it's at, and of course the presenting sponsor. And they do this every week with a new sponsor that they can highlight, which is just a great way to engage with those sponsors and still promoting the event in general with ticket sales and stuff like that. So now let's actually look at the event. So I love that they really use the real estate of their banner image here. They've got their fifth graders who look very ready for those local executives, I have to say. It goes along with a theme. I can see their big presenting sponsors. And again, I know when and where it's at. They use the event homepage really to hone in on the details of their event that's happening next month. I love that they have the sponsor logos using our sponsor widget. I love that I know exactly what food options, because I am going to events for the food. And along with their evening schedule, I know exactly what to expect if I am going to be attending this event. Another thing that I love is that, again, that video widget, we talk about it a lot. That's because it's important. They actually uploaded last year's event. So I can watch it, I can get engaged, I can just know exactly what I'm signing up for this year. Another best practice that I love to see is a very clean and clear, concise navigation bar. I know exactly what to click depending on what I need. And if you have ever talked to me, you know about an auction, you know exactly where I'm going first, and that is this registration and Qgiv help page. Because with any event, I think it is so important to have some sort of FAQ page, regardless if it's an auction, regardless if you're using software, just a place to go where I, as an attendee, can get everything that I need to know to be prepared for the event. It's just a way to set your bidders up for success and your team up for success. So they basically created, this is a custom page again, and they created just basically a help desk on their event site. So I love that they added step-by-step instructions, but they also took it a step further and added some images, because if you were like me, I am probably not going to read everything. I'm going to look for the images first. And then as I scroll down, you'll see that they actually have some videos as well. And I love this because they are resources that we've created. Our marketing team has created resources for you. So you do not have to reinvent the wheel. Those are all available to you in our help desk that we are going to look at later. So don't waste time creating something that's already there for you. And then I love that they also included a contact information at the bottom. So I know exactly who to reach out to. You're not keeping me guessing if I do have a question that wasn't answered. So again, an easy way to provide guests with everything that they need to know and expect before the event, which sets you all up for success. And I will let Caitlin talk a little bit more about their sponsorship opportunities and all of that good stuff.
Yes, thank you, Brittany. So, few things I love about this particular event. So, they're drawing inspiration from pop culture. So, the Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? I think that was a show, or maybe still is a show. I don't have cable, but with Jeff Foxworthy. So, people are going to resonate with that. So, even somebody like me who doesn't have cable, I still know what that means. So, it's going to get my interest a little bit. And then also, I love that they're highlighting, again, their mission. We've talked about that a lot during the presentation today. Make sure you're educating your donors. So, again, not only about your mission, but any kind of logistical information. So, you want to make sure that you're managing expectations and make sure that you're putting yourself in the shoes of an attendee. Or so regardless if that is for an in-person event or a virtual event, you still want to manage those expectations. And it's going to help cut down on that back and forth communication that I know gets really crazy in the days and week leading up to an event. So save yourself some time, save your staff some time by just having as much information there as possible. And a few other top tips regarding what you can take back to your community. So Brittany said I was going to talk about sponsorship, and I definitely am. And it's so important when you're hosting an event. So with an auction component, think about where your income streams are going to come from. So the biggest is typically sponsorship. I know that can vary, based on your own historical data, but ticket sales and auction revenue. So that's where you're going to be getting a lot of your income for these auction style events. But regarding sponsorship, when it comes to building out your packet, especially if you've never hosted an auction before or your nonprofit's a little newer and you don't know where to start, we do have a lot of resources on our blog that will show you in just a moment here. But I think it's important to look at what other organizations are doing in your community. So see, like, I would stalk, quite frankly, other organizations in my community, see what their levels were, draw some inspiration for some of those price points, but also be confident in your mission when you're talking to your sponsors and you're pitching those ideas. But again, when it comes to your packet, make sure that you're educating your sponsors, that it's all going to be in one place. And what I love about with this particular campaign and their sponsorship packet that you can see on the slide here is that, it was a PDF, but they're linking to that video that Brittany showed us where you can see the event from last year. So if sponsors have a question what your event's all about, they can easily access it. And that's another reason why you want to make sure that you have as much information up to date as you can. You're promoting it on social media because that's going to speak to potential sponsors. And also, make sure that you're educating them on what their dollars are going to do. Now, when it comes to those graphic design needs, again, I know it can be a little tricky. You may not have all the resources, but I did want to point out that canva.com is a great tool for this. So I did not have a graphic designer when I was in fundraising. I had to do a lot of things myself. And Canva made me feel like a graphic designer. I was able to make some of the social media graphics. I was able to make some packets. So really great free tool to take advantage of. And then a few other top tips I wanted to talk about is make sure you're using social media to highlight those big ticket items or unique packages on all of your platforms. And make sure when it comes to your auction platform, so regardless of who you're using, you want to try to have everything together on one site. So in the campaign that Brittany showed us, it was all there, clearly marked with that navigation bar. Attendees could see the items, they would be able to check in, all of those things. And it makes it easier to train volunteers and staff when you have everything all on one platform, all on one site. Now, when it comes to the auction items themselves, I know it can be intimidating if you've never done an auction before and you may not have an idea of where to start. We do have a lot of resources on our blog, but I do want to share that to think outside of the box when it comes to items. You don't always need items. Sometimes an experience like a day behind the scenes with the town mayor or sheriff, those sorts of things. In fact, when I did a behind the scenes auction item, it went for thousands of dollars. It was my best selling item and it didn't cost anything. It was just an experience made through connections. So that's what I wanted to say about auctions. But now let's talk about text fundraising. So there's a lot of great stats up on this slide here, but if you are not using text fundraising in your campaigns, you definitely want to weave that in, whether it comes for soliciting or comes to soliciting donations or for just sharing information. And that's because 90% of text messages are read within 3 minutes of being received. So that's huge. And text messages have a higher open rate than direct mail and email campaigns. So super powerful. But now I'm going to turn it over to Brittany to talk about a campaign from Junior Achievement as Southwest Florida.
Thank you. So another junior achievement that I want to highlight, and that is something, or it is Southwest Florida, and it's their event that they hosted last Tuesday. So they added text fundraising to this year's Business Hall of Fame event that they had, which was in person for the first time in 2 years. So they started by using our form to sell tickets, tables, sponsorships, collect those RSVPs. And then during the actual event, they used what we call our Fund Hub Live page, which is what you're looking at. And it's a part of our text fundraising package, and it allows you to easily build this page that you're going to be able to screen share during your event, along with the donate or the thermometer that you see here that highlight or updates in real time. It also highlights your donor's activity in real time. So if you look at the recent activity, it's going to continuously scroll and show you the donations that were coming in. Your thermometer is going to move in real time. And then I love that they actually added their sponsors through the image gallery here. So it was just another place and plug for those sponsorships that we've talked about. They took advantage of the ability to customize their text messages in this campaign as well. So their team was sure to customize and set up those thank you messages that donors are going to receive immediately. They're still going to get that thank you receipt, but that text message, that is their immediate gratification, other than, of course, seeing their name on the screen, which you don't have to update it. It's going to do it in real time. You're not constantly refreshing your page or anything like that. And text fundraising, it's just such an easy tool to use at your events, and an easy way to connect with your audience that doesn't require having those outdated and unsecure pledge cards on the table for donors to fill out with their sensitive information that you risk losing and not actually getting the donation before the event is over. And then, of course, having donors trying to find your website on their phone through the event to give on a long form, like that's not fun. No one's trying to do that. It's just an easy way to honestly have that call to action by just kind of pulling out your cell phone, texting your keyword that's unique to your organization's event to our Qgiv phone number, and boom, you're done. So not a lot to really pour into this anymore other than Caitlin had some stats that she wanted to share.
Yeah, so actually, just a few more little things about some best practices here with stats. So the reminder there is, again, text messages are open within 3 minutes of receiving 90% of them. So make sure to remember that when it comes to why text fundraising is so important. But with this campaign, a couple things that I loved about it. So again, they're partnering with local leaders. We've seen that theme pretty consistently through the campaigns we've talked about today, because it's going to help you get your message out there sooner. Their Facebook banner image has those event details. And as far as a few other things that you can take back to your community with this campaign is about when it comes to making that ask. So especially when you're at an in-person event, and I love that they had this woven in, is that, you know, they have that text message. It's easy to donate. You're not using those pledge cards like Brittany asked, and you can pair it right after a really powerful mission moment. So consider having a mission impacted speaker deliver the message, or playing a pre-recorded video, and then you can make that ask and ask people to whip out those cell phones and make those donations. And then a couple more best practices here when it comes to text fundraising is make sure it's easy for people to donate. So like Brittany showed us on the FunHub Live page, they had all the instructions, how to text, what the short code was. So think about that when you have an in-person event even. So maybe it's signage or it's a QR code that people could scan on an event program. And when it comes to those short codes, just know that autocorrect isn't your friend, and make sure that you're testing it. So what's next? We really hope that the information provided here today was useful, it's helpful, it's got those wheels turning with different ideas that you can take back. And you'll see just a few clients up on the screen here that we are so proud to partner with. And we appreciate everyone on the call today for everything that you're doing for the youth of your community. It means so much. And I do want to point out that we love working with our clients. We feel like we are a part of your team, and we are fueled by that positive feedback. So this testimonial from Taylor with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Rhode Island, you know, she's stating how we are there to help. We're able to have a great platform that it doesn't matter who you are, if you're a millennial or older, that you can use it easily. So we'd love to hear that feedback. And if you remember one thing from today's presentation, remember that not having a variety of events to engage your community is definitely a missed opportunity. So make sure that you are diversifying. And I'm going to turn it over to Brittany just really quickly to just show us where some of these resources live for people on our website. So whether you're a client or not.
Yes, can you see it okay?
Yes, I can. So you can see at the top where we have our resources. So where Brittany's hovering, you can see where you can get to the webinars, our blog, ebooks, templates, sponsorship templates, all those sorts of goodies. And then also on our website, if you're not a client and you're interested in learning more, you can click on that demo page. And that's how you can connect with us to learn more about our packages and pricing and all that good stuff. And I know that Brittany had a couple things to note with how her team supports from a customer experience perspective.
Yes. Okay, our help desk. So resources, Caitlin mentioned that we have plenty, and we do. And if you haven't checked out our blog and resource center, if you are a client, I highly recommend it too, just because I'm on that thing day in and day out. But if you are a client, you actually have access to our help desk, which we redesigned and launched earlier this year. So a couple of different places that you can get started. If you're newer, if you know exactly what you're looking for, or if you're looking for those resources for your donors and your volunteers, again, we have those created. Don't reinvent the wheel. Definitely check those out. You can also search for something specific in the search bar. And if you're not finding it, or you just don't really feel like searching, clicking I need help will email the customer experience team. So you can give us a call or send us an email. And then we also push our updates to our software every 2 weeks. And you can click this button right here to kind of review all of the new enhancements and fun features that we have released recently. And just if you are a client, our customer experience team is here for you. We're here Monday through Friday, 8 to 7 Eastern. So be sure that you're emailing us or calling us. And if you are new around here, we do offer free and unlimited support and training. So just another reason to reach out to us.
Awesome. Thank you, Brittany. So I know we are right at time. So if anybody needs to jump, feel free. We are going to send out a recording of this. So I do want to make sure that we get to some questions. So I'm going to reintroduce Kim to see if we had anything. And then
We
do. We do have one. And then I also wanted to introduce our VP of Customer Experience, Jennifer Mansfield, who's going to help answering questions that we have. So.
And I know Jennifer and Brittany are going to love this one. Earlier in your presentation, you guys mentioned cyber grants, and Sydney put a question in there, and she's been trying to do some research and wanted a little bit more explanation about what it is and how it syncs with Qgiv.
Do you want me to take this one since you've been talking, Brittany? Awesome, happy to. So cyber grants is great. What you have to do, it's totally free. You sign up with their program called Front Door. Give some information, and then you'll have an account, and you can seamlessly integrate that with Qgiv so that your donor can initiate that match during the giving process. As soon as they hit submit and they have an accepted donation, it's going to send them automatically the information to log into cyber grants and upload that match information. So you have to do less of the chasing down of the donor to kind of follow through on that, and you hopefully get the match a little bit quicker. So it's very easy on our side. Once you're signed up with Front Door to integrate that, it's free, and there is reporting on both sides. So hopefully that answers the question, and we have full documentation. So give us a call if you have any additional questions.
And I think we had a shy group today. That was our only question, but so we are there, Caitlin, Brittany.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. We've got a couple locations and emails up on the screen here if you want to get in touch with us, but I will go ahead and just say thank you again and conclude our webinar. Thank you, Brittany, Kim, and Jennifer for helping out today, and we hope to see you all soon.
Bye.